No warning came first. No explosions. No emergency broadcasts. No final cries for help. Entire star systems simply stopped responding. Ships were logged as active, crews filed routine status reports, but when rescue fleets arrived, there was nothing there. Not wreckage, not bodies, just empty space. Someone had erased them, without fighting, without killing, without being seen, and the silence began spreading, outward, methodically. The investigation led back to one recent event, a celebration, a galactic empire announcing the destruction of a primitive world, a world called Earth. So the question isn't what happened, it's this: why did the galaxy only start to die after humanity was declared extinct?
The Galactic Council chamber was designed to intimidate. Its ceiling vanished into darkness. Its curved walls surrounded hundreds of floating seats, each holding a representative from a different world, sealed inside their preferred atmosphere. At the center stood the podium. Ambassador Czar stepped forward, calm and assured. This was routine. Honored members of the Council, he announced, the Hegemony's latest expansion operation has concluded successfully. A holographic star map ignited above him, one small, unremarkable system. 3 cycles ago, our scouts identified a primitive civilization in this sector, Czar continued. Limited space travel, no meaningful allies, outdated technology. The image zoomed in on a blue and green planet. The species called themselves humans, he said. They originated from the 3rd planet, a world named Earth. A few delegates murmured, most didn't care. They possessed fewer than 200 space-capable vessels, mostly civilian craft fitted with weapons. Their largest warship was smaller than one of our escorts. Sleek hegemony ships cut through space. Human vessels burned. The engagement lasted less than 6 hours, Czar said evenly. Orbital defenses collapsed, space stations destroyed, fleet neutralized. Cities scarred, surface installations reduced to ash. Surviving populations have been reduced to manageable levels and reassigned for labor. The system's resources will now serve the wider galactic economy. Czar straightened. The operation was flawless. Silence followed. Then, from the chamber's highest tier, an ancient figure slowly rose. Magistrate Kethmer, who had remained silent for centuries, spoke quietly. "Ambassador, say the planet's name again." Czar turned, confused. "Earth." The chamber went still, and for the first time, victory felt wrong.
The silence did not break immediately. It spread. Across the chamber, conversations that had never started now never would. Environmental fields hummed softly, the only sound left. Magistrate Kethmer stood alone among the seated counselors. Age had slowed his body, but not his presence. The patterns etched into his skin, marks of centuries, seemed darker now, as if reacting to the word that had been spoken. "Earth," he repeated, not as confirmation, as recognition. Ambassador Czar shifted at the podium, uncertain. "Yes, honored magistrate, a water-rich world, mild climates, limited—" "You attacked Earth," Kethmer interrupted. The calm certainty in his voice cut deeper than accusation. Tsar frowned. As I stated, the operation was efficient. The species posed no meaningful threat. Kethmer turned fully toward him. For the first time, those closest saw it clearly. Fear. Not political concern, not moral outrage. Fear born of memory. "You believe they were primitive," Kethmer said quietly, "that they were weak because they allowed you to see weakness." A few council members leaned forward. Others instinctively leaned back. Tsar forced a thin smile. "With respect, Magistrate, our intelligence confirms—" "Your intelligence," Kethmer said, "has just repeated the oldest mistake in this chamber's history." He paused, then added, almost to himself, "We prayed this day would never come." The chamber did not ask what he meant. It already knew something terrible had begun. Magistrate Kethmer did not return to his seat. Instead, he turned away from the podium and began walking, slowly, deliberately, toward a section of the chamber most counselors pretended did not exist, the archive wall. Its surface was older than the council itself. Its symbols belonged to languages that no living species still spoke. No one used it. No one wanted to. "What are you doing?" Ambassador Tsar asked, the first edge of uncertainty entering his voice. Kethmer did not look back. "Correcting a lie we taught ourselves," he said. He placed his hand against the ancient panel. The system hesitated. Then, after a pause that felt far too long, it responded. "Archive Level 7 is sealed. Clearance absolute." A murmur rippled through the chamber. Absolute clearance was reserved for one category only: extinction-level threats. "I know," Kethmer replied calmly. "Proceed." Lights long dead flickered to life. A deep hum rolled through the chamber, as if something beneath the council had awakened. Holograms replaced the conquest maps. Not stars. Warnings. Species designation, human. Status, do not engage. Counselors stood without realizing they had moved. Tsar stared at the display. "This is impossible," he said. "Our reports show—" "Your reports," Kethmer interrupted softly, "show what humanity wished you to see." The archive continued to scroll. Tactical adaptation rate, unprecedented. Threat classification, existential. Kethmer's voice lowered. "These records were sealed 47,000 years ago," he said, "because forgetting was safer than remembering." The display paused, then loaded the first battle, and the chamber finally understood. Earth had never been unprotected.
The first battle recording began without sound. That was the worst part. 12 human ships drifted into view, sleek, unfamiliar, wrong. Their hulls reflected no light, as if space itself avoided them. Opposite them, a vast imperial fleet, hundreds of cruisers, thousands of guns. The archive labeled the encounter clinically. Engagement duration, 17 minutes. The moment the battle started, the footage became difficult to follow. Human ships did not charge, they slid. Weapons fire bent away from them, trajectories failing mid-flight. Imperial targeting systems glitched, recalculated, glitched again. Then the counterattack came. Not explosions, dissections. Enemy vessels folded inward, crushed by forces the sensors could not name. Some ships went dark instantly. Others tore themselves apart, their own reactors turning against them.
Council members watched crews die in silence, frozen mid-motion as vacuum claimed them. One delegate turned away too late. The recording shifted angles, faster now. Imperial formations collapsed as tactics were learned, countered, discarded, all within seconds. By the time the timer reached its end, the battlefield was empty. No human wreckage, no human casualties, only drifting debris. Kethmer spoke, barely audible. "That was not a victory," he said. "It was a lesson." The archive advanced to the next battle. No one asked it to stop.
The archive did not slow. It moved deeper. Battles blurred into patterns, different empires, different centuries, same outcome. Every engagement ended the same way. Human ships adapted. Enemy strategies collapsed. Civilizations learned fear. Then the footage stopped. The display changed. No explosions, no combat, just maps. Human territory spread across the galaxy in quiet, undeniable increments. Star systems fell under their influence without recorded wars. Borders redrew themselves as if obeying an unspoken rule. A new file opened. Expansion rate accelerating. Projected outcome, total galactic dominance. A counselor whispered, "Why didn't they finish it?" The archive answered before Kethmer could. Final directive, withdrawal. The maps froze, then emptied. Human-controlled systems went dark, one by one. Colonies abandoned, fleets gone, not destroyed, gone. Tsar swallowed. This is falsified. No species walks away from absolute victory. Kethmer turned to him slowly. "He didn't walk away," he said. "They stopped." Another record surfaced. Human ships departing populated worlds without warning. Human stations dismantled with surgical precision. No farewells, no explanations, only absence. "They realized something we hadn't," Kethmer continued, "that winning was easy." The chamber felt smaller now, and that what came after winning was worse. The final line of the archive appeared. Status unknown. Recommendation forget. Kethmer closed his eyes. "We believed they were gone," he said. "We taught ourselves that the nightmare had ended." He opened them again. It hadn't. The display dimmed, and across the council chamber a single thought spread, slow, invasive, undeniable. Humanity hadn't vanished. It had been watching. Nothing happened. That was what unsettled them most. The council session adjourned without ceremony. No emergency resolutions were passed. No fleets were mobilized. Life continued. Trade routes stayed open. Communication traffic flowed. Earth remained silent. Ambassador Tsar used that silence as proof. In interviews, he dismissed the archives as relic paranoia, stories from a fearful age, mistakes exaggerated by time. The humans we encountered were exactly what they appeared to be, he said. Primitive, isolated, finished.
And yet, Magistrate Kethmer stopped sleeping. He spent his cycles alone in the deepest archive levels, searching records older than the Council itself. Every reference ended the same way, abruptly, deliberately, as if someone had erased themselves clean. Days passed. Then, on the 15th cycle, a routine patrol failed to report. 3 ships, outer sector, nothing remarkable. Communication delay, Hegemony Command announced. 2 cycles later, another patrol vanished. Then another. Still no alarms, no distress signals, no debris, just absence. Merchants began altering routes, not because of threats, but because space felt wrong. Sensors detected fleeting anomalies, contacts that vanished when observed, energy signatures that refused classification. The galaxy waited. And somewhere in that waiting, an unspoken realization took hold. Humanity was not rushing. It had all the time it needed.
The disappearances stopped being isolated. They began to form a shape. Outer hegemony sectors went quiet first, entire systems losing contact within the same cycle. No emergency pings, no automated beacons, no last data bursts, just nothing. Military command labeled it a synchronization error, a software fault, a coincidence repeated too many times. Then a logistics hub failed to respond. Not destroyed, not damaged. When a survey fleet arrived, the station was intact. Power flowed, lights burned. Food sat warm in mess halls. Terminals remained logged in. Personal effects lay exactly where they had been left. But every being was gone. Not taken violently, not dragged, removed, as if someone had edited them out. Trade captains reported the same sensation across different routes. They felt watched, not hunted, observed. Course corrections triggered mirrored movements on sensors. Jumps to hyperspace ended the feeling until it returned in the next system. Long-range arrays began reporting anomalies from the direction of Earth. Not signals, patterns. Energy fluctuations that appeared only when no one looked at them directly. Magistrate Kethmer studied the maps in silence. Dark regions spread inward from hegemony space, erasing communication traffic as cleanly as ink soaking into cloth. "They aren't attacking," he said at last. A counselor whispered, "Then what are they doing?" Kethmer did not answer immediately. When he did, his voice was steady. "They are learning how the galaxy works." The dark zones expanded again, and the silence followed.
The first confirmation came from a trade lane far from hegemony space. A patrol intercepted a hegemony cruiser drifting just inside neutral territory. Its transponder codes were valid, its hull markings correct. The captain answered the hail immediately. "This is hegemony vessel Vigilant," the voice said. "Routine reconnaissance, all systems nominal." The patrol commander hesitated. He knew that voice. "State your captain's name," he asked. A brief pause, too brief. "Captain Morrell," the voice replied, "as recorded." The patrol commander felt a chill. Morel always added a joke at that point. He tried again. Your last patrol report included a reactor anomaly. Status. Another pause. The anomaly has been resolved, the voice said politely. Perfect tone, perfect syntax, wrong cadence. When command cross-checked the records, the Vigilant had been declared missing 11 days earlier. They found more ships after that, hegemony vessels appearing across the galaxy, filing reports on schedule, following procedures precisely, but never deviating. Crews spoke like manuals given mouths. Friends noticed the differences. Families did. The ships were not crewed. They were inhabited. Then came the recovered wreck, a human vessel, deliberately damaged, drifting where it would be found. Its systems were familiar, too familiar. Hegemony designs improved beyond recognition. Weapons that disabled without killing. Sensors that tracked thought patterns, not heat or mass. Kethmer stared at the analysis. They're not stealing, he said. A counselor asked, barely breathing. Then what are they doing? Kethmer answered, learning us. And they're finished learning how we fight. He paused. They've moved on to learning who we are.
The message arrived without warning. Not as a transmission spike, not as a breach alert. It simply appeared. Every communication system in the galaxy activated at the same instant. Government chambers, military command centers, civilian terminals. Different languages, same meaning. A single figure filled the screens. Human, unarmored, calm. This is Fleet Admiral Sarah Chun of the Human Continuum, she said, her voice even, unhurried. We request a formal audience with the Galactic Council. No threat followed, no demand. Behind her, a star map faded into view, one far too detailed to be possible. Fleet positions, trade routes, defense grids, every civilization, updated in real time. Council analysts froze. This data should not exist. And before you ask, Admiral Chun continued, no systems were harmed to deliver this message. We accessed what was already open to us. She allowed a pause. We have been present for some time. The display shifted. Human installations appeared, hidden between stars, inside gravitational shadows, embedded within regions no one thought worth observing. You believed we vanished, we withdrew. Images followed. Earth, not burning, not ruined, protected, surrounded by structures that dwarfed modern warships. When your forces arrived, Chun continued, we allowed the encounter to proceed. A quiet ripple moved through the chamber. We were not testing your weapons, we were testing your response. The transmission ended with a single line. We will arrive shortly. The screens went dark. No one spoke. The galaxy had not been threatened. It had been informed. The council chamber filled before the hour had finished passing. Not with panic, with understanding. When the doors opened, there were no guards at the front. There was no need. 3 humans entered without announcement. They walked as if the space already belonged to them, not through ownership, but familiarity. Fleet Admiral Sarah Chun stood at the center. We are not here to conquer,
she said gently. "We are here to correct a trajectory." A new projection formed above the chamber. Not fleets, principles. "No civilization will expand through annihilation," Chun continued. "No species will be erased for being weaker. No empire will profit from silence." Ambassador Czar tried to speak. He could not find the words. "We studied you," Chun said, looking at him, not accusingly, not kindly. "Your systems, your habits, your justifications." The projection shifted. Guardian markers appeared across the galaxy, near vulnerable worlds, along contested borders. "You will govern yourselves," she said, "but not unchecked." A counselor whispered, "And if we refuse?" Chun smiled, not warmly, not coldly. "You won't," she said, "because refusal requires leverage." She let the silence settle. "We will share technology, medicine, energy, travel." Another pause. "Misuse it, and access ends permanently." The chamber understood. This was not mercy. This was stewardship. Humanity had not returned to rule the galaxy. It had returned to make sure the galaxy survived itself.
No monuments were built to mark the change. There were no holidays, no victory songs. The galaxy simply adjusted. Borders stopped moving. Expansion fleets were quietly dismantled. Worlds once marked for conquest were left alone, their skies untouched. Not because humans intervened, because no one wanted to find out if they would. In council chambers, old doctrines were rewritten in softer language. Words like inevitable and necessary slowly disappeared. Children of distant worlds grew up hearing the same warning, passed down in different languages, but always meaning the same thing. Be careful what you call weak. Earth remained silent after that, protected, watching. Human ships were rarely seen and never announced. But every civilization learned to recognize the feeling, that subtle pause in the stars, that sense of being observed, not with hostility, but with expectation. The galaxy survived, not because it was powerful, but because it finally understood something it should have learned long ago. The most dangerous species are not the ones that conquer. They are the ones that decide whether you deserve to exist.